Hey, good morning. I'm just grabbing a cup of coffee real quick here to start the morning off. So last weekend I was in a little bit of an accident, and then on Tuesday when I was commuting to work I was recording a vlog about the accident, and this happened.
Flashback.
Good morning. Well, it's another chilly morning here in Northern Virginia. Gotta love the fall. I'm heading to work today. Yeah, that last video I did, I wasn't really happy with the way it came out, but under the circumstances, it was probably the best I could have done. Earlier that day, what I didn't talk about in the last video was that I had a little bit of an accident. Everything's okay, I'm okay, the bike's okay, but I thought today we would talk about the accident and some lessons learned. So what actually happened was I was going down a 6-lane road that tees into a 4-lane main thoroughfare. So the lanes peel off left and right. There are 2 lanes that turn left. I was in the 2nd lane, turning left. There was another gentleman in the 1st lane, and he decided for whatever reason that he needed to be in my lane. So as we were pulling into the setup for the turn and thankfully slowing down because the light was red, he suddenly came over into my lane and oh my God, that's insane.
End of flashback.
Okay, so there you go. That's similar to what happened on Saturday, the difference being that we were both going about 15 miles an hour and we were parallel to each other, and he didn't stop, he just kept coming. I mean, we were sitting directly across from each other in our riding and driving positions. He just never turned to look, check the lane I was in. So ultimately, what went wrong? I did apply my emergency braking procedures, and that worked for the most part. The thing that I hadn't accounted for, I guess, is I bought new boots last week, and they're a little bit bigger in some of the dimensions than the boots that I've been riding with. The soles are also new, haven't been scruffed up much, and when I put my left foot down, I had a problem, and ultimately my foot went forward on the asphalt, and I fell into the SUV and put my shoulder into the passenger door on the SUV. After that, you know, my training kind of took over. Things happened very quickly. I mean, I got myself on my feet, made sure I was okay. Was lifting the bike when he had jumped out of the SUV and run around, checked to see if I was okay. I told him I thought I was. I saw him look at the door on his SUV, but by the time I got the bike up and was on the bike to see if it was still operational, which it was, he had already gotten back in his SUV and taken off real quick. So, you know, fortunately, I wasn't hurt because of the way I went down, and because I had this mustache engine guard on the bike didn't even get a scratch. It just kind of eased down onto the pavement, I guess because of the resistance it had of my body and the position I was in as I went into the SUV. But anyway, like I said, everybody's fine, bike's fine. you know, as far as lessons learned from that, the first thing is I really hold myself 100% accountable for that accident having occurred personally. You know, he clearly didn't check the lane and came right over into me, but if I, you know, want to be totally honest, about a mile earlier, I had noticed him, and he was kind of like all over the place. I don't know if he didn't know the area, but he was like moving in and out of lanes, and was maybe a little bit aggressive. I should have registered that, and I should have just stayed away from him. I never should have gone forward in the other lane to put myself in a position where he could actually do something that would harm me. So I'm going to pay a lot more attention and think a little bit more when I get in those circumstances in the future. Typically when I'm driving a car, I do that. If I see somebody that's crazy, I don't want to put my beamer up there. I just kind of like avoid it. And for whatever reason, I didn't do that this time, and that was a mistake. So the other thing to learn from this is training. I always make it a point when I'm out riding, if I see a big parking lot that's empty or almost empty, I go in and spend a little time just practicing basics. Slow speed maneuvering, emergency braking procedures, all of that. And I'll, you know, do that for half an hour or so, and then I'll go back and continue my my ride. And I do that because as a soldier, one of the things that I learned early on in my military career was how important training is. You know, and not just training itself, but training in a way that's real. You know, we used to say, train the way you fight. And it should be the same thing on a motorcycle. Train the way you're going to ride. Because what you're really doing with the training is you're programming muscle memory. Not just in your body, but also in your mind. Because, you know, when things happen, like what happened Saturday and what just happened earlier, you don't have time to think, and you don't want to put yourself in a position where you have to think. You just want your body and your mind to do what it knows it's supposed to do in those circumstances. So that's why training is so important, and I will continue to train as I have in the past. So anyway, it's really cold this morning. Another lesson I've learned this week is I need to have another jacket other than this summer mesh jacket I'm wearing. But I think the one thing I regret about Saturday, though, is I didn't have my GoPro turned on. I wasn't filming. I was just actually riding over to an area where I was going to pull into a parking lot to do some filming about the Stage 1. So hopefully you guys will forgive the quality of that last video. I wasn't really happy with it, but to be honest, bridge. But to be honest, you know, my mind just wasn't really all the way there. You know, after the accident, I had pulled into an apartment parking lot and kind of try to get my senses around me and settle down, because the adrenaline when the incident happened was just through the roof. So by the time I got to where I was going, where I wanted to actually record some footage to talk about the Stage 1, my head just wasn't into it. But I will definitely be doing a probably a 1 month in review to talk about the differences in the ride with the Stage 1 that I've seen since having done it. But anyway, you guys be safe out there. Watch for the wackos, man. You know, it's like I've told Miss Percy, it's not really the motorcyclist that's dangerous, or the motorcycle itself. It's the wackos out there, and good Lord, do we have some wackos here. Anyway, you guys have a good one. I'm going to work. Peace.